Hello everybody, it's time for another weekly wrap-up. You know the drill. I'm going to talk about all the things that I read this past week, but before I talk about the books, I have 3 things I think I need to mention quickly that I think are important. One is booktube bingo is a thing. If you haven't heard about this, I will send you to Bree's video. You can go print off your bingo card and start doing them. I'm going to have a lot of fun doing these and posting things on Instagram when I do them. Second thing is that there's going to be a Best SFF of 2015 live show on Saturday, January 16th. That's going to be this coming Saturday. It's going to be at 1 p.m. Central Time, and it's going to be hosted and moderated by Thomas from SFF 180, so I will link his channel down below if you don't already know about it. I'm going to be participating in that live show along with a bunch of other people, and I hope you will join us. And the third thing is that I have heard that if you want to nominate in the 2016 Hugo Awards and you did not have a membership to the 2015 Worldcon Sasquan, then you need to get your supporting membership before January 31st in order to nominate in the awards. I'm gonna guess that you can buy a supporting membership after that cutoff date and vote. That's how it seems to usually work. But I encourage everybody to nominate, so go buy the supporting membership. I think it's about $40 US, and then you can nominate 5 of your favorite things in every single category. Sounds like a good deal to me. Okay, what did I read this past week? The first book that I finished was Dark Orbit by Carolyn Ives Gilman. I really enjoyed this book. I buddy read this with Ottavio from the Galilean Library, and we both really liked this. There were some really cool scientific discussions and everything in it. I liked the setting, I liked the main character. It's about a group of people who go to a newly discovered planet that is Earth-like, and the discoveries they make there will rock their world and upend a lot of things, potentially. It's kind of got a murder mystery vibe at the beginning, and then kind of turns into way more than that later. I'm going to do a separate review on this, so I'm not going to talk about it much more here, but this is a pretty solid science fiction novel. I might have a bit of a quibble with the last part, the ending, but everything else I really enjoyed. The second thing that I read was really atypical of me, and that was Radiance by Grace Draven. This is a fantasy romance, so it's basically a steamy romance novel with the naughty bits in a fantasy world, and the main couple is like, well, a Kai with fangs and claws and a human woman. They are 2 separate species. They're kind of spare heirs, noble relatives who have no value except to be married off for a political alliance. They know this. They get married off to each other. The only surprise to them is that they have to marry outside of their species, basically, and humans and Kai find each other to be physically repulsive, like they're butt ugly to each other. But the surprising thing is that instead of making each other's lives miserable, these 2 people are instantly kind and understanding with each other, even though they are not physically or sexually attracted to each other at all in the beginning of the story. They appreciate how beautiful the other person is on the inside. It might seem kind of cliche, but I picked this book up because I saw like 3 reviews of it on Goodreads, just bam bam bam, that said this was a kind of a nice example of a relationship that begins with respect and friendship. It's decent people being decent to each other, and it makes the romance more... It's actually romantic. They're not mean to each other, and you want them to fall in love. So I really enjoyed this. It has some weaknesses with the writing. It is predictable because, hey, but it was solid. It was really fun. I was smiling a whole way through. It has some very witty dialogue, and these people, they make their situation humorous as a way to kind of deal with it, and I liked that. It hit the spot. It's not going to be for everybody though. The third thing that I finished was Wonder Book, The Illustrated Guide to Creating Imaginative Fiction by Jeff Vandermeer, that also has a lot of contributions and essays from many other people you have heard of from the science fiction, fantasy, horror, new weird genres. It is a how to write fiction guide specifically aimed at people who write spec fic, imaginative fiction, surreal, fantasy, science fiction, all that kind of stuff. I don't think that the meat of this book is altogether different from from a lot of other how-to writing guides. It's more of a read it all the way through in the right order type of thing rather than a reference guide where you just dip in and out of it. The selling point of this book as a writing guide for people who are writing imaginative fiction is that it is heavily illustrated with these gorgeous spreads. They are used to explain things like structure and process, but also as writing prompts to fire your imagination, and that is really, really cool. It has original illustrations by Jeremy Zerfoss, and it has a lot of reproductions and stuff. Sorry, I have glare. It's very, very glossy, heavy paper, so the glare is bad, but it is a beautiful book, if nothing else. It's a really cool book, but I would not say that the actual content of it is head and shoulders above other books on writing that I have read. I'm not a writer. I like to read stuff like this because it gets you in the head of the author's, the writer's perspective on how they're approaching creating their story, and I think that gives you a vocabulary but also more knowledge of the process so that you can reverse analyze or critique or dissect a story when you kind of know the techniques that were used to write it. So after reading a book like this on this type of subject, I always start relating what they're talking about with books that I've recently read. That was cool. The final thing that I finished this week was Abaddon's Gate by James S. Corey. This is the third book in the space opera The Expanse series, and I'm not going to talk about plot because that would reveal possibly too much of what's happened in previous books, but I gave this 3 stars because while I really enjoyed and was quite sucked into the idea that the plot of this one is based on, I really liked what they were going off to discover in a way. I did not connect with the point of view characters. There are like 4 POVs in all of the books, and there are 2 in here, Melba and Bull, that I just did not care about. I am ready for the Mao family to never be mentioned again, I guess. They weren't bad at all. I just missed some of the previous point of view characters, specifically Christian Avasarala. Her absence was felt a lot in this, so I hear she's back in the next 2 books, so I have the 4th book, Cibola Burn, that's it, and I have that on hold at the library, so I will be getting that soon. That's it, that's everything that I read. I took a break from reading novel-length fiction this weekend, and I've been plowing my way through some short fiction. You may have noticed that there isn't a December short fiction favorites video. I'm not doing one because I just did not read. I think I read 10 short stories in December, and I only really liked one of those, so I am catching up in January. It's the 10th day of January and I've read like 30 short stories already. So that's it for me for this week, guys, and I'll be back with a couple of reviews this week and we'll see what else happens. So until then, bye.